Welcome to Educate and Rejuvenate the podcast, the show that helps you teach and live well. I'm Kelsey Sorensen, a former classroom teacher, current homeschool mom, and a proud Teacher Goals author. I'm on a mission to help educators of all kinds not just survive, but thrive. Are you ready to educate and rejuvenate? Let's go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Strong Start Sundays. I apologize because I used the wrong intro, but I am Dr. Rachel Edoeket, and I'm so excited to have you here tonight. Kelsey Sorensen is awesome. She's one of my good friends, and so I love her intro. But we are here for Strong Start Sundays tonight, and I am so excited to have an amazing guest. But before I introduce him, I'd love for you to come into the chat and let me know where you are watching from tonight, where what your position is, and what your name is. So tonight, I'm so excited to have Dr. Joshua Fine joining us tonight. He is an amazing friend, a wonderful school leader, and someone who I definitely look up to. He is, first of all, so many wonderful things that he does. First of all, he is the principal of Flower Hill Elementary School in Montgomery County, Maryland, which is our neighboring county. He also is the immediate past president of the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals. So I have learned and continue to learn so much from him in my capacity as current president. And he also is the 2025 Washington Post Distinguished Principal of the Year from Montgomery County. So we want to give him a huge round of applause. Josh, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Dr. Edoeket, it is so wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me. And I'm so excited that tonight's topic is around gratitude. It's such an important topic in our work. And with Thanksgiving coming up, I feel like there's nothing better to talk about. So I'm excited to spend the night with you and get our week started right.
I love it. And Constance Sherrod, how are you? It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And again, tonight's episode is all about gratitude. This is the time of year, as Josh said, where it's time to focus our energy on what's going right and to be thankful for so many things in our lives, both personally and professionally. I know this is like, for me, this is my favorite time of the year. Thanksgiving was always my favorite holiday. You know, growing up, I know people love all different sorts of holidays, but for me, Thanksgiving was a time for our family to come together, our friends. I love the fall foliage. So I really appreciate this time of year. Josh, how about you?
Oh, I adore Thanksgiving. It's so nice. It's a holiday that everyone celebrates and has family and good food. And it's an important holiday that can trickle down into our schools as well. So everyone gets that sense of gratitude. And it's just a way to bring our communities together during this wonderful time of year.
Yes, definitely. So we want to start off by I want to ask Josh this question. What has been a highlight for you or something that you are thankful for that happened maybe just over the past week?
Yeah, actually on Friday, it was the last day of our first quarter. So every year we have a fall festival that's led by our mascot, Flash Falcon. We're the Falcons at Flower Hill. And it is a joyous time. We have dancing and a DJ and sports and art projects. But really, it's those little moments that you see our kids dancing with one another, our teachers and students dancing with each other, and everyone sort of just enjoying each other, taking a break from the day-to-day and coming together as a community and connecting with one another. There's always a moment where I sort of look over the recess playground and I think, oh my gosh, how lucky I am to get to come to work to this each day. And it just shows off the strength of our community. So I'm just coming off of that. That was Friday. So I'm still feeling a lot of gratitude for my community and the families and children I get to serve every day.
I love that. I love that idea. And, I'm envisioning all the students and families kind of together and enjoying their time, lots of smiles, lots of laughter. That sounds like a really special community event where everyone is welcome to participate and enjoy that fun learning process. So I appreciate you sharing that. For me, our school has been doing a readathon since early October. And so we had two goals. Our first goal was for our students to hit 50,000 reading minutes school-wide. And our second goal was to hit 75,000 reading minutes. So in our school, we have a pre-K through grade 5. And so there's 2 rewards. The first reward was if we were to hit 50,000 minutes, I would do a surprise for the school. And so what brought me joy this week was going into school with a multicolored wig and just seeing the laughs and the surprise on everyone's faces. It was absolutely hilarious. And it's something that the kids really love. The staff really got into it. It's just fun sometimes, because our jobs can be serious at times as school leaders and principals and assistant principals. So it was nice to do something that was just funny. And just to have that reaction was hilarious. And there's another surprise coming up because our school did hit the 75,000 minutes. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, very, very exciting. So before we jump into tonight's full episode and strategies of talking about how to show gratitude to our staff and to our students, I would like to remind you to pick up your copy of Relational Intelligence, the Key Factor to Exceptional School Leadership. Dr. Johnson and I wrote this book specifically for school leaders to really think about some strategies that we can use to connect, to communicate, and to really build trust with everyone that we serve. So if you haven't picked up a copy of our best-selling book, please do so right now. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see where you can grab a copy. You can get it on Amazon or anywhere books are sold at this site below. So let's jump right into some strategies. The first strategy that we want to talk about is called taking a gratitude walk. Now, a gratitude walk is different than a walkthrough. When I think about a walkthrough, usually it's instructional. We're looking for things to celebrate, but we're also looking for things that might need some correction. So sometimes we might be saying, here's something that you did very well. Here's something that I noticed you may want to improve upon, or here are some recommendations. So we know that instructional walkthroughs are an extremely important part of our job, but I want to shift focus to something different, which is called a gratitude walk. In a gratitude walk, you are intentionally walking through your building, but you don't have an agenda. There's nothing that you are specifically trying to correct. What you are doing intentionally is walking through your building to look for what's going right. You're looking for what's going well. You're looking for things to celebrate throughout your building. It could be as simple as you see a student being very kind to another student, or you see a teacher who did this really amazing lesson, or you're walking through the building and you see people laughing and just having a great time. That's the purpose of a gratitude walk. It's to really reshift our focus onto what is right, what is strong, and not what is wrong. And so I wanted to ask Josh, have you ever done a gratitude walk, or what are some things that you see throughout your building that you like to celebrate?
I have to take this gratitude walk back because when you talked about it, Rachel, I thought to myself, the power of positive reinforcement, that sometimes our feedback tends to focus on what's not going right. But we know, just like with students, with adults too, we're encouraged and motivated by that positive reinforcement. So to operationalize that like you did, I'm definitely taking that one back. That's a good one. I'm going to add to it tonight with gratitude grams. We every Thanksgiving, the week before Thanksgiving, and then we do it again during Teacher Appreciation Week. Our patrols, our 5th grade patrols, along with their sponsor, take over the cafeteria and they create these notes and they create models of how our students can show their teachers gratitude. It could be their classroom teachers, but often we encourage everyone in the building. So our specialist teachers, our art, music, PE teachers, our building service staff who contribute so much to our daily environment, our office staff. And so all day through every lunch, our patrols lead it, and they work with our 4th through kindergarten students to create these gratitude grams. And then the next day or two, you'll see them on everybody's doors, and our teachers love them. Now this job comes with a lot of perks, but hearing from a child's mouth and hearing their gratitude is far more meaningful than any gratitude you or I could give a teacher. Ours is important, but hearing it from the kids, that's just what we work for. So we do that twice a year, and it's always cool to walk the school and see every staff member, regardless their role in our building, have notes from students on their doors, behind their desks. It just creates an outstanding environment and teaches a valuable lesson to our students that gratitude is important. It's important to show gratitude because it's good for our own mental health as well, not only the building and community's health.
Yes, I love that idea. That's something that I would love to take back to my school. And really, that's why we're doing the show. I know Constance said the same. We're always looking for ways to improve. So thank you so much, Josh, for sharing that. I have a quick question. How long does it take you and the fifth grade students to plan something like that? Or about how long do the students have to write their letters? Because that's something I definitely want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, they do it over one day in lunch. So we have a planning day with our fifth graders, and it's so awesome to put leadership and power into our fifth graders, right? I mean, just any opportunity I get for our fifth graders to be the leaders of our community, I always take it. And so they stay in the cafeteria all day, and it's a little bit, we sneak in a little bit of a writing activity in there as well. So it's cool to watch our fifth graders walk our other students through it of how to write these notes. And then maybe their favorite part, our fifth graders, is to organize them and hand deliver them to teachers and in teachers' mailboxes. So about one and a half days, but we've done it for many years. So each year they've gotten a little better at it and added their own twist.
Yes. And I love that because you talk about having student leadership and fifth grade, but this is an idea that is transferable across elementary, middle, or high school.
Absolutely.
Really, we're empowering our students to take the lead on something that's going to be special for teachers and staff. So that's number one. But two, more importantly, like you said, it's important that students learn about gratitude. It's important that we are teaching why we need to show thanks and appreciation for people around us. Nothing is guaranteed. None of us are guaranteed anything. But when we have people in our lives who care about us, people who want us to succeed and do well, we need to take the time to acknowledge that and to show thanks. And so one other thing I would add on top of that, Josh, is having that opportunity for students to take the lead on that, but also us as leaders. One of the things that I like to do sometimes when I'm presenting is in the middle of the presentation, I will say, everyone take out your phones and take a minute to message somebody who is important to you. Maybe it's a mentor. Maybe it's someone who was a teacher. Maybe it's someone who you are mentoring, who is making a positive difference in your life. And so that's really important for us to do as leaders as well, just to take a moment to acknowledge and show thank you and gratitude for someone else's contribution to our life. So I really appreciate you sharing that awesome idea, Josh. And that actually takes us into our second strategy. And that is around celebrating the progress that we're making and not perfection. Now, I am a recovering perfectionist. I will admit that. That is something that I struggled with over the years. And I think in this role, there are many people who are like me, who want things a certain way or who felt the need to always have our hands in something. But that is not a healthy way to lead because so many people have strengths all around us. And so as a recovering kind of perfectionist, one of the things that I've had to refocus on is to celebrate what is working. And one of the ways that we can do that is to look for those small incremental wins. In our role as school leaders, a lot of what we do is around data collection. And sometimes when we don't see those test scores blowing it out of the park immediately, it hurts, right? It's hard on us. So what I've had to do is really reframe and think about what are the successes that we can highlight within the work that we're doing. And here's an example. When I'm looking at my school's attendance rate, I first look at kind of the overall percentage. And we know we're trying to hit that 96% in our school district. That 97% is a great place to be. We want our students there. But there are times during the year where that number is going to dip, where we're going to get into kind of that yellow zone of that 94% or that 93%. But what I've had to do is to go further into that data and start looking at the groups of students that we're targeting. So that helps me to say, okay, right now, overall, we may not be where we need to be, but we can see that there's a small group we're focusing on and they're making progress. They are improving. So oftentimes I tell school leaders, don't focus on the biggest picture kind of end goal only. We really need to focus on what is working in this moment that we can celebrate. And not only that, we need to tell people about those celebrations. So our district does a really nice job. We have something called map testing. And so we look at overall percentages, but they also look at the growth, the percentage of students. And our school was highlighted just last week about making growth in both English and math. And that's a big deal. So the first thing I did was took a screenshot of it and sent it out to the entire staff. And I said, this is a testament to the work you are doing. Because sometimes in the moment we're so busy, it doesn't feel like we're making the type of progress we want, but the data speaks for itself. So I want to encourage you to think about what can you highlight from the work that people are doing in your buildings, and what are different ways to showcase that. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, when you were talking, I thought, isn't it excellent that we can show gratitude towards risk-taking, towards professional risk-taking, and celebrate progress? Because not every project, not every piece of work every single day is going to be a success, but the thought and care behind it is so important towards that progress and achievement eventually. So I thought about, my first principal. Most principals do a weekly phone call to their communities, and my first principal actually did it to the staff, all the teachers. And the phone call always started with gratitude. It always started with shout outs. At our school now, we have a weekly newsletter that always has shout outs within it. And it's a way not only to thank people publicly, but as you mentioned, display folks' hard work. Sometimes if I'm a kindergarten teacher, I may not know what they're doing in fourth grade or what they're doing in the music department or what building service project they're working on. But when we display that hard work, that care, that progress, and really thank it out loud publicly, it not only hits that one person in the heart, but it also encourages everyone else that people are seen and their hard work is seen. And of course, giving this gratitude, as you know, Rachel, it makes us feel good. It has us walk away feeling better. Every morning when we enter Teacher Appreciation Week, I try to send 5 emails a morning thanking different staff members. And I end up having an amazing week just because I'm giving this gratitude every day. And we know that our serotonin levels go up when we do this work. So it's so important both for us, the folks that we're congratulating or shouting out immediately, but also for the community to just see everyone's hard work and professional risk-taking as we make progress.
I agree. I think, expressing gratitude not only does something for the person, but also for the giver. And
Absolutely.
I know when I'm having those kind of low moments, that's my time to make those positive phone calls, like you said, or to write that note. Or sometimes we don't have time to write a note, but just pulling someone aside and saying, I really appreciate the way that you're handling the situation. Or, when I like to tell teachers, when I walk into your room, I feel welcomed. I feel like I'm a part of the learning. That's really important, especially to me as someone who I tell people I will never get over leaving the classroom. I absolutely love teaching. And so I love being a principal as well, but it's not the same. And so when I walk into teachers' classrooms and I see the learning that happens, that just fills me up. It really does. And I also want to share, Josh, something like you said, is that each of us has our own personal way to publicize things, and it's a phone. It's very simple to take pictures of what's going around because, like Josh said, sometimes it feels like we're in silos. When you are working across the building, everyone can't see all of the great things. So as school leaders, we have a responsibility not only to show the great things that are going on, but to celebrate those. And not only internally in our buildings, because I do a Friday email every day every week where I say like happy Friday and I celebrate something that's going on in school, but I use those same pictures in my newsletter. So now the community knows something great that's coming up. Now this week we have National School Psychology Week. So we will be celebrating our school psychologists. So that's something that you can start tomorrow thinking about. what's a way, if you have a school psychologist, that you can support and lift them up? Ours is pretty simple. We'll do some small things, but I always put their picture in the community newsletter and just thanking them very publicly for the work that the school psychologists do. So there's a tip. November 3rd through 7th is National School Psychology Week. So that'll be a nice time for you to lift that up. Josh, anything else you wanted to add before we go to our third point?
No, just that I saw Tarla in the comments, and she's so right. Showing teachers appreciation is a win-win for everyone. It is just a way to elevate the feeling of belonging and connectedness for everyone. People are seen, they know their work is being seen, and then their colleagues know what their work is. And so it just becomes a more collegial atmosphere. So I agree, Tarla.
Yeah. And the last one is really important, but often overlooked. And it is, how are you showing gratitude to yourself? Right?
Yeah.
How often do we as leaders really think about how far we have come? And how are we showing that and encouraging ourselves? You know, being a school leader is such a demanding role. It is a very dynamic role. And it also can be a very exhausting role, if we're being 100% honest. And a lot of times we spend our energy pouring into other people around us, as we should, right? We should be doing that. But we also should be encouraging ourselves. So my reflection question for you is, how are you showing appreciation to yourself? So for me, here are some things that I have. I have a box in my office. When I have a really hard time and a really hard day, I open that box up, and it is letters from the beginning of my career, from last week. I just put everything together. When I have a really nice note or a card from a family or a picture from a student, I put it in this box. And when I need to take 5 minutes, I will open that box and just reinforce myself with some of those messages, because sometimes we forget, this job is a grind. It can feel like a grind a lot of the times. But if we take a moment to step back and think, wow, I've come a long way, and all of us have continued to grow as leaders. We need to take a moment to acknowledge that. We need to take a moment to thank ourselves for the hard work that we do every day. Now, I know that can sound counterintuitive, but I will say, and I think Constance said the same thing, as an assistant principal, you're doing a lot of different tasks throughout the building to keep the building afloat. And sometimes we don't really think about just how much we do. And so I encourage you to keep a journal of some great things that you're doing, even just writing down a couple of tasks, or sometimes just stopping to acknowledge. I know there have been times when we all have had this. We're anticipating a parent phone call, something that might be very challenging, a very challenging conversation. And we stay up all night anxious about this conversation. And we start dialing and shaking and getting a little nervous. But we get through that phone call. Maybe it ends up in a positive way. Maybe it goes a little better than what we thought it was going to go. And how often do we just hang up the phone and keep going? But what I've learned to do is to stop and say, wow, you handled that. Wow, you did something great just now. You were nervous about it, Rachel, but you got it done. And we're in a better position now. So think about ways that you can pause and really celebrate yourself, because this is something that we all need to be doing. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Well, for me, it comes in the morning. I'm a morning person, so I'm usually one of the first ones to enter the building every day. And there's something about the walk from my car on a crisp, cool fall morning that gets to me every time and really reminds me of the privilege of this work. And you're right, Rachel, this work is so demanding. There are many tough moments, but I always think it's important to remind myself how privileged we are to do the type of work that we're doing, to serve children and families in the way that we're doing. And the one thing about leadership is we often chose this work. And even that is a blessing and a privilege, that we chose some of the challenges that we're facing and that we're making these daily impacts on students and parents and staff members, and we get to see it. So for me, I really embrace those morning walks into work and try to think, instead of the laundry list that might be in my head of what I have to get done or what could be a little bit better, to try to frame myself first thing in the day and say, geez, what an absolute honor and privilege to serve the families and students of this community, and to really remember and never lose that grateful attitude around this work. It's very important to me.
I love, love, love that. And I'm going to try that too, Josh, just as that reminder every morning to say what a privilege it is, because it is a privilege. That's the word.
Absolutely.
It is a privilege to serve. It's a privilege to impact students, staff, and community members in the way that we do. Even if it doesn't feel like that every minute and moment of the day, ultimately, it is a privilege to serve in this role. And so Absolutely. I really appreciate you lifting up that reminder. And I want to lift up Constance Sherrod. I'm so glad that you took advice. We had a session a couple weeks ago, and I talked about journaling the things that are going well every single day. Who did you help, right? What did you do? How did you step in and improve a situation? And literally writing that down. I'm so glad that you're doing that, Constance. And I hope that that is bringing positivity to your day, that it's helping to keep you motivated, because these are things that we do on a daily basis, but we may not be keeping a record or keep track of them. So I love that you are taking that advice and are doing that. I can't believe we have 4 minutes left. I told you it goes by fast, Josh. Didn't I say that?
This has been so fun, though. So fun,
yes.
Rachel.
Yes. So I want to leave with just a couple of things before we close out. Here's some other quick ways to celebrate. One of the things we're going to be doing in the month of November at my school is bingo, but it is a gratitude bingo. So it's bingo with a spin. So what our staff is going to do is we have 25 different task options for staff to do. And there's something as simple as listen to your favorite song on the way to work. Take a 15-minute walk before or after school. Do 2 positive phone call homes to a family, or wave to 5 students you don't know that aren't in your classroom. So there's all these different, share a resource with a team member, share a helpful resource. Once the teacher does 5 of those items, they're going to put their name in a bucket for a drawing to win a prize. And if they do 10 of the things, they put their name in twice. And we're just going to do a quick drawing. And this is something simple that it'll be good, I think, for all of our well-being to think about how we can show gratitude, write a staff shout out to someone and put it on the board. Those are all things that will help with general morale, but it also helps our personal morale. So that's just one idea. I know Josh had the idea of having the students write the grams, the thankful grams. That's an amazing idea. Josh, anything else you want to add?
Just to take time to ensure that you're thanking just everyone in your building, including your office and building service staff. I always make it a point to show my gratitude to those 2 teams, because a lot of their work is behind the scenes, but it's so necessary. So when we shout out their work to our whole community, it just adds value to what they do every day, because we could not have school without them. That is for sure.
I love that. I love that. And Gabriella, thank you for this idea. In your school, they're writing down one thing that they're grateful for every day in the month of November. That's an amazing idea. It's free and it will make a positive difference for everyone in your school. So I love that. And I love the idea, Josh, that the 2 groups that you talked about, the office staff and also the building and custodian, those are the 2 staff that really make school welcoming. Absolutely. They are the ambassadors to our school. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes when you come in that front office, that's the first group that you see. And what you see on your grounds is the work of our custodial team, the shiny hallways, all the things that make school a welcoming environment. So I love that you are shouting out those 2 very, very important groups of people in our building. Well, we have just a minute left. So I'm going to end our episode by doing one more plug for Relational Intelligence, the key factor to exceptional school leadership. If you don't have your copy yet, you can pick it up on Amazon or anywhere books are sold. Dr. Johnson and I are so excited to continue to share this work with you. We also want to share that next week, November 16th is our next episode of Strong Start Sundays. And we're going to be working on mid-semester reflection. So we're going to be thinking about what's going well, what we need to pause, and what we can adjust as we're headed into winter. And my special guest is going to be Dr. Sonia Matthews, the 2025 Maryland Distinguished Assistant Principal of the Year. So I'm really excited to have her and her perspective on the show. I want to say thank you, Dr. Fine, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, just sharing so many amazing ideas. You are someone I look up to. You are an amazing principal, but just a great person. So I'm just thankful that you are here to share your perspective with us today and just all the great things that you're doing around gratitude at your schools. I know we're walking away and going to be using some of your great strategies. And finally, I want to thank Teacher Goals for this amazing platform and the ability to share what is working and some things that we can all do to improve. And I want to thank everybody on the call today. We have well over 500 people on the call tonight from all over the country. We just are so thankful for your engagement and for being with us tonight. We are wishing you an amazing week ahead, filled with lots of joy and gratitude. Have a wonderful night.
Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, Dr. Edo-Eckett.
You're
Have
so
a wonderful
welcome.
night, everyone.
Thank you, Josh. Bye. Thanks, everyone.
If you loved what you heard in this episode, don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening or watching. And hey, if you're ready to take this work even deeper beyond just a podcast episode, you'll love the